What do you think of them?
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
That is so beautiful.
No.
They're ridiculous.
No.
She never stops whining.
No.
Meghan Markle Googled, is the race card an actual card?
Slay the dragon, save the princess. I'm like, that's my husband.
Hey, I love your Luke.
Sorry, what's that?
You're Luke. You look amazing. You're Luke.
My Luke. My
Luke. My look. She likes my Luke.
Your voice is driving me crazy, and I'm about to jump over there and put my fists down your throat.
She's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout. Like she's completely camera ready. And she also is pretending that she's crying. There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us like one strip of authenticity.
I think the woke have been asleep.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous.
Is Meghan Markle really the Duchess of Drama, or is she just playing the victim again?
Here's an email that I've been keeping for you.
I have full body chills right now.
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on. Thank you. Yeah.
That is so beautiful.
No.
Did her tear-soaked podcast appearance actually help her image, or just make things worse? Because let's be honest, nothing felt real. And the host, Jamie Kern-Lima.
Jamie Kern-Lima, who seems to be even more fake and insufferable than the Duchess.
Both of them did come across like they haven't actually, been in touch with maybe someone who's worried about the price of eggs.
Very first question, because I think in friendship, it's so important. And I think so many people also have this question for you is, Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind.
Yes, it really is that awful. I may have blacked out from smacking myself in the head.
She gave me the creeps the way she kept praising Meghan like she was royalty reincarnated. It felt more like a fan club meeting than a real interview.
See, and when you do interviews on your show, do you do the Jamie Kern-Lima reactions? Yes. Oh my God, there's something wrong with her.
And now let's dig into how the internet torched her Time magazine most influential moment, Prince Harry's BBC interview flop that made critics cringe, and all those insider whispers calling Meghan more narcissistic than noble. Even when she talks about kids, she's still talking about herself.
For kids, that's fun. So many good songs. And I've become that mom where I'm like sitting around with friends and I start singing like, Tyrannosaurus, that's the chorus, Tyrannosaurus. I was like, what am I singing? Oh my gosh, I'm singing Storybook. I'm singing Storybooks. I am not singing Beyonce.
Her Spotify deal got dumped, her Netflix show flopped, and she's on the verge of being tossed from the royal family. So maybe it's time she stopped signing gifts as Her Royal Highness, because no one's buying it anymore.
40 minutes into the podcast, this little picture, quite a grainy picture, flashed up, which shows a basket of, homemade preserves with a card on it, HRH, Duchess of Sussex, Meghan.
You dropped off this gift basket with ice creams, homemade strawberry sauce to put on top of the ice cream.
I find it a little bit cringe to give a gift to a close friend and sign it Her Royal Highness.
Why even in private? She's using that full title, Her Royal Highness.
I would never refer to myself as Her Royal Highness.
They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm going to put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends.
Meghan Markle's newest podcast was pitched as raw and real, no makeup, no script. Just the Duchess of Sussex pouring out her heart. But let's be honest, it didn't feel real at all. In fact, the whole thing seemed carefully staged like a PR stunt dressed up as vulnerability.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about. And there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live.
Katy Perry calling herself an astronaut felt more real than Meghan Markle pretending to be authentic. The podcast host Jamie is Meghan's friend, but let's be real, she spent the whole time kissing her as it was like a scripted fan letter, not an interview in the end. We didn't learn anything except how far Meghan's royal fakeness can go whack.
So hard. The moment that everything sells out, it doesn't mean that we're done. It means we're working on replenishment and what are the next SKUs and what's the next tranche of products and what's the timing on that and writing the newsletters and writing the social media captions and making sure that all that feels in line and what's the cadence of it. And
in this interview, she really goes on these tangents of talking about how stressful her day is. And when I was listening to it, I was thinking, no, that sounds like a normal day to me.
Critics weren't buying it. Most saw it as a carefully planned move to push her as ever lifestyle brand. Sure, everything sold out in 30 minutes, but that's a trick. There wasn't much product to begin with. It a marketing game to make her look successful, even if the whole thing was built on smoke and mirrors.
It flopped really hard despite Spotify trying to push it, and they realized that these two don't really want to work, okay?
Happened to Spotify. The critics were horrible about With Love, Meghan. You sold inventory that you didn't have on asever.com. People are still waiting for their refund.
So when she's trying to sell these kind of, I'm sorry, but crappy, cheap tats to middle America, she needs to have this relatability, and she doesn't have that at all.
While people online are still complaining they haven't received their orders, and it's been nearly a month, Meghan's trademark filings for yoga mats and pet bowls only made things worse as users were quick to call it a desperate money grab.
She's trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea for the rest of the family.
And this was one of the most every mother out there will understand. She wants us to put together a fruit crudité board for our children in the morning. Now, look, Maureen. Look at this.
I can't.
She is doing a cooking show on Netflix. I only watched 5 seconds of it, and I thought she was going to cut her wrist by trying to zest a lemon. This girl has never been in the kitchen in her life.
I've honestly never seen a podcast where someone spends so much time bragging about how amazing their life is.
I don't like her.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
Everybody who works for her quits. Everybody says she's a bully. She's very nasty. Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a bitch about it to everybody who works for her. When things inevitably start spiraling downward, she blames everyone but herself.
No struggle, no honesty, just non-stop self-promotion. So the big question is she really bearing her soul or just acting her way through another episode of the Meghan Markle show?
They want it both ways. These people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention. And then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
Meghan once again acting like the perfect mother claims. She writes emails to her 2 kids every single night. Yes, nightly emails to toddlers. If you can even believe that, it sounds less like parenting and more like a PR stunt. I mean, really, who does that? It's the kind of thing someone says when they want to look flawless, not honest.
Can you imagine being Archie or Lilibet and opening this inbox of 6,000 emails when you turn 18? No one wants that, not the children. And also it sets this really unrealistic expectation, which Meghan is so good at doing for other parents.
If I don't have meetings in the morning, then I try to do school drop-off. They're at 2 different schools. So from 6:30 in the morning on drop-off mornings for me, I'm not home till 9.
Her life is so hard because she has to do school drop-offs. And thank God that she's got a live-in nanny basically raising these 2 children.
The episode pulled in millions of streams, with clips blowing up on TikTok and Instagram, but not everyone was impressed. Host Jamie Kern-Lama called it raw, but most people weren't buying it. What made it even weirder was how hard Jamie pushed the point that Meghan hadn't seen any of the questions ahead of time, like why repeat that so much it felt less like honesty and more like damage control before the internet could call it fake.
You haven't seen any of the questions ahead of time, and we're in our sweats, and you look the exact same with no makeup as makeup, and we're
that's very
Like, seriously, why keep repeating that? Why even make it such a big point? Are you trying to convince the audience or just trying to convince yourself that this wasn't all scripted and fake from the start?
She's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout. Like she's completely camera ready. And she also is pretending that she's crying. There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
During promotion for Suits, she was joking with one of the photographers that she can cry on command. Left eye, go. And then you watch a tear fall down her face, and then she starts cackling because she's so proud of herself.
She has this really famous thing where she says 1 tap left eye and she can make herself cry on demand.
Either way, we still didn't buy it. The whole thing felt too perfect, too rehearsed. The Daily Mail's Alexander Lerman called her tears a transparent attempt to stay relevant. And honestly, his not wrong ex users tore her apart, pointing out how polished everything looked, like it was all part of a strategy. One even joke, even her tears have a PR team. And let's be honest, it didn't feel like a breakdown. It felt like a brand launch in disguise.
It's just another lie from Meghan where she's told us one thing about this wholesome family life that she's got, but really it's staff behind the scenes that are upholding this entire image for this.
Markle reported that critics saw her stories as overly self-centered, constantly circling back to her brand or her personal struggles, like everything had to be about Meghan. The Express even cited royal insiders saying this sudden emotional switch-up won't fix her image. In fact, some believe it's just another performance, one more calculated move to stay in the headlines while pretending to be relatable.
They kind of fucked up their whole thing, went way too hard on we're victims, and they assessed the mood of their generation and America correctly in that we are lovers of victimhood.
Yeah.
But America did finally find a way to say, you know what? We love victims, but you two, we've just had a little too much of it.
I mean, tone deaf could be Meghan Markle's middle name.
Meghan's big moment at the Time 100 summit quickly drew sharp backlash. Honestly, I still can't decide who comes off more fake in these staged interviews. Blake Lively with a forced charm, or Meghan Markle with her royal victim act. Either way, the whole thing felt painfully rehearsed.